What's up guys, I'm KBHD here, and this phone, this Galaxy Note 8, this is the best phone Samsung makes right now. All good? Right off the bat.
Well, not anymore. But is it better than the Galaxy S9? Well, let's find out. Though I should say for the record that I don't exactly own a Galaxy S9, so this is more of like a is the Galaxy Note 8 still worth it kind of video. But I am going to mention the Galaxy S9 a few times here and there. So yeah, anyways, let's just get into it. Okay, so I'm gonna start with similarities, and pretty much the first similarity that anyone would notice is the design. How similar the Samsung Galaxy Note 8 and the Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus are. They are both made of glass all around, and they smudge easily, and they basically have the properties of any glass phone. Like I said, they smudge easily as well as scratch easily, as you can see here. Now, this isn't really anything particular to the Note 8 or the S9. It's pretty much with every phone. For example, the new Apple iPhones, they all scratch and smudge pretty easily. Okay, so next up is the display, and the display on all three phones are quite amazing, really mind-blowing. They are super sharp, really crisp, amazing colors, and actually the Galaxy Note 8 is still the best one because it gets brighter than all three. It's probably the brightest phone in the world, and it gets pretty dim for nighttime use. Next up, Bixby. It's still there, the button's still there, everything's still there. Okay, so battery life has just been fine on my Note 8, and so I wouldn't really expect it to be that much better on the S9 or S9 Plus. Something that's rare to see nowadays is microSD expansion, and all three of these phones have it, which is really cool to see in 2018. And now, something we've all been missing for a very long time, the headphone jack. Samsung keeps it, and they're awesome for keeping it. Thanks, Samsung. So all three phones are still IP68 water resistant, which means that, well, the 6 means that it's dust resistant, completely dust resistant, and the 8 means that it's completely water resistant, basically. Which means that you can take it for a splash or a swim or something, and it'll be completely fine. Now moving on to the cameras. Now the Note 8's camera is most similar to the Galaxy S9 Plus because the S9 Plus has dual cameras, which means that it has support for live focus, which is basically their version of portrait mode. But all three cameras are very similar, except the S9 Plus, which has dual aperture, which is actually first of its kind, and that's pretty cool. And now moving on to the similarities, starting off with the speaker. So the Note 8 has a single bottom firing speaker, whereas the S9 and S9 Plus both have dual speakers. One is bottom firing and one is in the earpiece, so that's pretty awesome, and they both support Dolby Atmos surround sound or something like that. That's still awesome. Now, because of the Snapdragon 845 in the S9 and S9 Plus, they can both now support 4K 60 frames per second and actually 720p at 960 frames per second for super slow motion, both of which are not on the Note 8. Okay, so what makes a Note the Note? That's right, the S Pen. Now, this is kind of a deal breaker for some people. If they don't have it, they won't go to another phone unless it's another Note. So take that for what it's worth, but it's the S Pen and you won't find it on any other device. And yes, this is helpful. So now let's move on to the fingerprint sensor location. It was one of the worst locations on the S8, S8 Plus and the Note 8, but with the S9 they fixed it by putting it on the bottom, which is a lot better than what it used to be. So out of the box, the Note 8 came with Android 7.0 Nougat, but after a software update, which will be coming soon, it's not here yet, but after the software update, it'll finally have Android 8.0 Oreo, which is on actually not a lot of devices. It's only mainly on the Pixels, and that's pretty much it. But a few months later, the Galaxy Note 8 is still crushing it. It's still a beast. Everything is fluid, from doing daily tasks, opening Instagram, opening Facebook, well, who uses Facebook, but opening Facebook, opening the camera, all that, because it has a Snapdragon 835, whereas the S9 and S9 Plus have the Snapdragon 845, which is slightly newer, and it's actually a lot more efficient in terms of battery and enabling a few features, but the 835 is no slouch. It's still super fast. So is the Note 8 worth it? Well, okay, think about it. So you spend a little bit more and get the S9 or S9 Plus, and you lose the S Pen, and pretty much the best and brightest smartphone display ever. But you also gain a slightly better processor that enables a few features, including 4K at 60 frames per second, and slow motion up to 720p 960 frames per second, and a better camera overall in terms of low light and also overall shooting, basically in any scenario. But in the end, it's up to you. Do you want to save a bit and get the Note 8, which is still a really awesome phone to get, or would you rather spend that a little bit more and get a top tier Samsung flagship? That's up to you. So me personally, I'm not gonna upgrade from this phone to the S9, but I still think that the S9, if you don't have this phone, is totally worth it. But if you do have this phone, which I do, I don't think you should upgrade because it's still a solid phone for 2018. And moving forward, I hope. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more like it, subscribe, and tell me what you want to see down below by commenting. I will see you in the next one, and thanks for watching.